Ben Shapiro is going for the full expose on the woke right. I'm excited to see it because the woke right, it's pissing everybody off. It's pissing me off. It's pissing you off. I'm Tal the Traveling Clat, your favorite Zionist prince. Let's take a look at what he says.
President Trump was never, ever going to get us into a nation-building project in Iran. That was never... Have you met President Trump? Have you watched him for the last 10 years? What unbelievable lack of faith it shows in President Trump for people to suggest that Trump, of all people, was going to get us into World War III on a nation-building exercise in the Middle East. Are you out of your damned mind? And I think that it's actually worthwhile to replay the footage of the people who said this sort of stuff, because perhaps you should take their opinions with a grain of salt. Perhaps you should not take them quite so seriously when they claim that they know what the hell they're talking about. If you got this one this wrong, that does raise some questions about just how seriously we ought to take you on matters of the factual. Here's just a small slice of some of the people who claimed that this entire situation, that Israel bombing the Iranian nuclear facilities or American support for that, or America doing a B-2 raid, that was somehow going to lead to World War III. Just a few of these folks.
A war with Iran is a world war. This is not 2002. Iran is now part of a coalition that includes the biggest economies in the world and the largest militaries in the world. So a war with Iran means a war in effect, or, by proxy, but still a war with Russia, China, Turkey, and a lot of the rest of the world. So that's a world war. It's not just as simple as we're going to take out their nuclear facilities. Okay. How are you going to do that?
In the next 200 days are some of the most perilous times for the American Republic in its history. Because if we don't get this sorted, we're going to be drawn in totally into a conflict as a combatant.
And if it's not Ukraine, it's Israel or someone else. There's so many. Our foreign policy is so suborned, so much not in America's interest, so much used by the military-industrial state or particular lobbies in favor of particular places. We could be yanked into war for absolutely no consequential reasons whatsoever.
This war, which we do not need to fight, which is not in our interest, has the potential to be devastating to our country, let alone the region. What is the moral relativism in any of that?
Do you think that we are moving toward war with Iran?
Yes, I do. And it looks like the chosen destination is indeed Armageddon. There doesn't seem to be any real appreciation for the implications for us and frankly, for Europe and the world, as well as the Middle East.
Whatever you put the risk at here, which if this thing keeps escalating, the risk of this going to a real ground war, another war in the war on terrorism, let me be very clear when I say this. I don't know that America will survive this. We went into the terror wars in a much stronger place than we're going into this one. And this is a much tougher opponent than Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi. We didn't go into the terror wars $37 trillion in debt. We didn't go into the terror wars with the cultural and political and racial divides. We have mass protests in the streets right now over Donald Trump trying to enforce his immigration policy. This is going to be, this has the potential to be an utter disaster.
America cannot have a war with Iran, by the way. It would lead to a regional war. It would be costly, bloody, threatening.
I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire, obviously. Other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran.
These are the people who kept telling you it was going to be World War III. And there are lots of them, lots and lots of people who are telling you it was going to be World War III. Now, I just want you to note the complete and utter disconnect from reality. Utter disconnect from reality. Last night, as Iran was firing its obviously pre-coordinated strike on Al Udeid Air Base, reported by everyone, coordinated, a vanity project in an attempt to prop up the Ayatollahs, Tucker Carlson took to the airwaves to lament the great tragedy that was befalling Qatar. And notice the hand-wringing. Notice the sackcloth and ashes. Notice the hand to the heart here. Notice the deep and abiding pain he feels, apparently at missiles that didn't hit Qatar. And notice that he did not express any of that same pain, I noticed on this broadcast, about a jihadi suicide bomber killing 20 Christians at an Orthodox church in Syria the same day, or any of that same sympathy for the victims of October 7th. It's just sort of fascinating. He also, by the way, says that Qatar only put Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar out of the goodness of their heart. They're just that nice. They're just that kind. Here was Tucker's response to what was effectively just the final gasp of Iran before the end of the war.
It's so distressing. It's so distressing.
Who could have seen this coming? I know. Who could have seen it coming?
Well, I'll just say, I just want to say it should go without saying, but I mean, I'm praying for the success of, whatever America does, because I'm praying for America, but I'm concerned, and I hope that people who have audiences will be responsible and just remember, like, life is short. You're going to have to give an account. Like, try to be honest, try to be humane, try to care about other people. I don't know.
So people should be honest, you see, and humane, and care about other people. And because clearly that's Tucker Carlson. So honest, so humane. All leaders kill people. All leaders kill people. So honest, so humane, so truthful with his audience. I'm just going to read to you a few of Tucker Carlson's tweets about what he said would happen. Not once, but over and over and over again. What he said would happen. Quote, "It's worth pointing out a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East and cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may be even higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you." Tucker Carlson, March 17th, 2025. Or how about this one? Quote, "Whatever you think of tariffs, it's clear that now is the worst possible time for the United States to participate in a military strike on Iran. We can't afford it. Thousands of Americans would die. We'd lose the war that follows. Nothing would be more destructive to our country. And yet we're closer than ever thanks to unrelenting pressure from neocons." Because obviously President Trump is the neocon. He's the one who made the call. "This is suicidal. Anyone advocating for conflict with Iran is not an ally of the United States, but an enemy. So anyone advocating for a strike on the Iranian nuclear facilities or for just getting out of the way and letting Israel do it is an enemy of the United States, according to Tucker Carlson. April 7th, 2025. Tucker Carlson, June 5th, 2025. Quote, "Mark Levin was at the White House today lobbying for war with Iran. To be clear, Levin has no plans to fight in this or any other war. He's demanding that American troops do it. We need to stop Iran from building nuclear weapons. He and like-minded ideologues in Washington are now arguing. They're just weeks away. If this sounds familiar, it's because the same people have been making the same claim since at least the 1990s. It's a lie. In fact, there is zero credible intelligence that suggests Iran is anywhere near building a bomb or has plans to. None." Okay, he said this the same week that the IAEI came out and said that actually they're violating all of their nuclear obligations. Anyone who claims otherwise is ignorant or dishonest. I assume he means the president of the United States. If the U.S. government knew Iran was weeks from possessing a nuclear weapon, we'd be at war already. Iran knows this, which is why they aren't building one. Iran also knows it's unwise to give up its weapons programs entirely. Well, do they have one or not? Muammar Gaddafi tried that and wound up sodomized with a bayonet. As soon as Gaddafi disarmed, NATO killed him. Iran's leaders saw that happen. They learned the obvious lesson. So first of all, NATO didn't kill him. Members of the Libyan population killed him. I opposed the NATO action against Gaddafi, for the record. And so, here is where he goes with this. Quote, "It goes without saying, there are very few Trump voters who'd support a regime change war in Iran. Donald Trump has argued loudly against reckless lunacy like this. Trump ran for president as a peace candidate. That's what made him different from a conventional Republican. It's why he won. A war with Iran would amount to a profound betrayal of his supporters. It would end his presidency." Okay, Tucker Carlson saying that Donald Trump, if he decided on an airstrike on the Iranian nuclear facilities, that would amount to a profound betrayal of his supporters and would end his presidency. That may explain why so many of Trump's enemies are advocating for it. And then there's the question of the war itself, says Tucker Carlson. Iran may not have nukes, but it has a fearsome arsenal of ballistic missiles, many of which are aimed at U.S. military installations in the Gulf, as well as at our allies and at critical energy infrastructure. The first week of a war with Iran could easily kill thousands of Americans. It could also collapse our economy, as surging oil prices trigger unmanageable inflation. Consider the effects of $30 gasoline. Okay, I'm just going to say that today, the average price of gas in the United States is $3.22. It is actually down slightly from where it has been. So has a word of this come true? Even close? No, but don't worry, there's more. The second week of the war could be even worse. Wait, that would have been this week, the second week of the war. Iran isn't Iraq or Libya or even North Korea. While it's often described as a rogue state, Iran has powerful allies. It's now a part of a global bloc called BRICS, which represents the majority of the world's landmass, population, economy, and military power. Okay, so just to point out, BRICS is an economic alliance. It is not a military alliance. And his idea, apparently, is that Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, among others, would have come to the defense of Iran. This is what he was saying. I pointed it out weeks ago when he said it. Quote, Iran has extensive military ties with Russia. It sells the overwhelming majority of its oil exports to China. Iran isn't alone. An attack on Iran could very easily become a world war. We'd lose. Did you notice all the losing? I didn't either, because we didn't. Because this is not the world of reality. And by the way, it is obviously a rip against the president of the United States, who decided that he was not going to follow in the footsteps of this complete and utter tomfoolery. And then he says, the one thing that people like Mark Levin don't want is a peaceful solution to the problem of Iran, despite the obvious benefits to the United States. They denounce anyone who advocates for a deal as a traitor and a bigot. They'll say or do whatever it takes. They have no limits. These are scary people. Okay, that was Tucker Carlson, June 5th. Did any of that remotely come true? Don't worry, there's more. Quote, the real divide isn't between people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence and those who seek to prevent it, between warmongers and peacemakers. Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone who's calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. military involvement in a war with Iran. So apparently you're a warmonger if you did what President Trump did, or if you encouraged him to do the thing that he did. Not full-scale nation building, not full-scale Iraq-style invasion, not any of that. If you told President Trump, or if you said that President Trump should do the thing that he did, again, the bravest action I've seen from a president of the United States, and the most successful foreign policy move of my lifetime. If you said that, according to Tucker Carlson, you hated the United States, you were actually an enemy of the American people. Now, as I said yesterday on the program, there are reasons you could theoretically steel man for opposing President Trump's strikes. Maybe there are some thorough constitutionalists who just want all American foreign policy action approved by Congress. Sure, fine. They're wrong on this score in terms of their interpretation of Article 2 power, but fine. Maybe there are some people who were truly pragmatically worried about a replay of the Iraq War. I think it's unbelievably dumb. I don't see any indicators that an Iraq war was on the horizon, or that President Trump, of all humans who campaigned against the Iraq war, was going to enter America into one. But then there's a third group that I mentioned yesterday. People for whom intervention against the Iranian nuclear facilities was itself a supposed betrayal of MAGA. In other words, they would rather Iran have gone nuclear than that America fly a B-2 sortie at exorbitantly low risk to take out Fordo. People who declared that it was a betrayal of MAGA to do this, like Tucker Carlson. Now, all those people seem very surprised by the outcome of the 12-day war. I'm not accusing these people of being in the pay of foreign powers. I think they're promoting ideological poison all on their own.
I am.
And whether these folks slather a layer of pseudo-patriotic paint on top of their neo-isolationist, Howard Zinn, blame America trash, that's irrelevant. If the guest list for your program looks like the reading list from the Democratic Socialists of America or National Students for Justice in Palestine, that's because you agree with them. And everybody should know that you agree with them. Just say it, because you do.
Ben Shapiro takes the high road. I'm not taking the high road. I definitely think they're in bed with foreign powers. Did you see, I've said this before, did you see how during this 2-week war with Iran, there was just the build up to it, and during it was just everybody, all these people, like the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens, they were pushing to you the same exact message. This is it. It's World War III. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It was like a machine working overtime. Like the steam was running through. It feels like it was paid and bought for by a foreign power. It feels like Iran or Russia or China had the money there swinging over their heads saying, say this, say this, say this, say this. I'm sure it's not as evil as that and not as clear cut as that, but it definitely felt like it. I don't think that this was coming from them originally, especially the switch up. The switch up was so quick. I think there's something definitely more nefarious happening, and I'm proud of you. I have to say, if you're watching this YouTube channel, I'm proud of you for not being like that. Like most likely, if you found my YouTube channel, you subscribe to my channel, you support my content, the hundreds of thousands of people who do, the millions of people who watch me every month, it means you've already broken off from that sort of getting propagandized. When you're watching Tall, we have no sponsors. There's no VPN companies. There's no Skillshare. There's no Squarespace. There's no one supporting this channel besides you guys. It's you guys on Patreon and then the ad revenue I make on YouTube. There's no bias. It's all 100% from here. And what's amazing about it, we have a massive audience. Like, this channel is growing so quickly, and God bless. Every day I say God bless. I pray every day for the fact that this channel continues to succeed. We're about to hit 500,000 subscribers. That's no joke. We brought in 12 million views this month. 12 million. That's insane. We're competing with some small level news stations, and we're not being funded by any foreign power. There's no propaganda. There's nobody paying me to say anything. It's all Tall right here saying exactly what he thinks about. I'm proud of you if you've made it to this channel and you watch this religiously. Like some of you guys leave me comments, it means you've already broken off from the path of the bullshit that those people were selling you. The bullshit that those people were telling you. You want truth, come here. You want real, come here. You want fake, you want bullshit, you want to be propagandized, go somewhere else. I love you guys a long time. Thanks for watching me, for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, Clads.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.